Could you speak about use in the Yoruba traditions? I think of Yoruba as basically just using drumming and singing right now.
Well, the Yoruba group in Nigeria that you see now, only in the highest level that are using entheogens. Most of what you see in Yoruba now is modern. It's not the ancient. We know from the Jukas and Suriname who were had no contact. We had much of Yoruba culture, and it's not the same as it was 300, 400, 500 years ago. But you find some of the oldest representation of hallucinogenic mushroom use in the Yoruba culture. They use hallucinogenic mushrooms all through West Africa.
Did they use anything besides mushrooms?
Oh, they use the daturas, they use combinatory alchemical brews. Every babalawo, which is the proper name for the folks there, not shaman, but the babalawo, they have different formulas that they use. Many of them have mushrooms under them, others have other things, but they have a lot of different formulas that they use for specific entheogenic journeys.
Of course I do. When you were speaking of like entities that people experience, say on DMT, like a figure walks in the room, would you say that that's like something that's always here that that you become aware of under the influence, or is it generated from the entheogen?
It's not generated from the entheogens, they're there. It's multi-dimensionality. When you go into the subatomic realms, how you make mathematics work is that you have to add dimensions. In string theory, that's why they work with 11 dimensions in string theory. To make your mathematics work, because you have to do that in the subatomic quantum realms. So these so-called entities are here. They're always here, but it's just on a different channel of the radio. You know, you got 94, 98.5, you got 1200 AM, you got FM. It's all the same radio. They're just in the environment, and you tune to that channel. And that's what the entheogens are helping you do, tune to the channel on the radio. That you got a different type of music. You got jazz on here, you got country on there, you got hard rock here, you got talk radio, you got all these different things, same radio. But the waves are all in our environment, penetrating one another. So just a slight variation of the frequency and vibratory rate puts you on a different level. They're everywhere. Light is everywhere. You know, we just don't perceive it consciously because we have governors on our, our consciousness, so that we're not running anything. That's why people tell me, I'm in that realm all the time. I don't need any type of entheogen. That's a trick, or that's a crutch, or that's cheating. You should be able to sit down and breathe your way into that. And I'm that way all the time. I'm like, well, I'm glad I'm not that way all the time. Because you can't function. It's like I was going to the bathroom door, the bathroom door. Think about that driving. The car was there a minute ago, but it's not there. You can't tell the insurance company or the police that, well, the car disappeared, and the next thing I know, I was sitting on the side of the road and the two cars had run into each other because you're in this realm. And you don't want that. People don't go, when I've been taking mushrooms for quite a little while. And I will pass the refrigerator with them in it. I'm going to go this Saturday night and I look at the refrigerator and say, I'll do it next Saturday. Or like, damn, I gotta take these things tonight. Okay, let me do it fast. Real fast, get in there, it's like, okay, well, I'm stuck now, I gotta do it. People don't go to yoga class like that. They don't go to yoga and say, oh man, when I do that dead dog pose. When I do that cobra and the fire breath, it's gonna be, oh man, I just really don't want to do this.
I had a question about the drums, the weapon drums regarding infrasonic weapons, were there any medicinal aspects with that? Like, I know certain pyramids in Egypt, they use sound to diagnose conditions and diseases. I was curious to know, were there any drums that like that?
They have drums that are for healing, yeah. They have water drums, they have door drums, they have other drums that do other things. But those were war drums. They weren't, they were for on the battlefield. And
Which country were they from again?
that's the Senegambian region. The countries that we say today, we say Senegambian region. Because in 1865 at the Berlin Conference is when Europe chopped Africa into its geopolitical states of the day. So they took families who were one family and made a new country in between them. And now they're fighting because one is from this country and one is from that country when they're the same people. And it was only created artificially by the Berlin Conference when the European powers carved Africa up into their own private domains. Germany took theirs, England took theirs, and France took theirs, and so on and so forth. And when they did all that, now the people in those places, in Ghana they speak English, in Senegal they speak French, and so on so they speak German, and so on so they speak this. They speak their own languages, but it is in congruence with what the European powers carved up. Questions? Yes.
Yeah, I hear you talk a lot about, experience with different entities and traveling in the multiverse and things like that. Can you summarize, like, on a practical level, how that is beneficial to us? How we can use those experiences, on this level to, accomplish what we're trying to accomplish or overcome things or anything like that?
Don't have nothing to do with accomplishing that. It has to do with making you more, so that these things are no longer necessary. So that when this planet is no more, you're not bound to it. You're not bound to the physical laws or the physical constraints of this place. Like I said, psilocybin doesn't have the same efficacy in high doses as ayahuasca or others. That it's going to spur you on to stop styrofoam from being thrown in the water. It has nothing to do with it. It has to do with making you a super being, so that you no longer are bound by the earth, so that you can traverse different dimensions. You're no longer bound by the physics of being a human being. It's about being more. It's about going further. It's about exploring everything that exists, other than being out here working 9 to 5, driving your car, raising your kids, paying your bills. Yeah. You probably invent something to make you some more money so you don't have to work, but it ain't got nothing to do with that. Questions? Yes.
Would you, this piggybacks a little bit on that, but it's related, that would you say that there are protocols of engagement for as you go in or as you meet beings? Would you say that there are things that
There's no protocols for these beings.
I mean, like respect or
whether
love?
You respect everything. Mm-hmm. And you demand respect. But the places that I go, you can't go in and bow me and bend the knee. Mm-hmm. You can't go in and oh, greatness, that type of thing. You go in like, how you doing? Pleased to meet you. Mm-hmm. You may have 6 heads and 42 arms and all that kind of stuff, but you don't go in like you're not supposed to be there. And you don't go in as a peon or a peasant. You go in as a entity yourself of power. No longer a human praying to the gods. You're older than the gods. Zeus and them ground the Titans up and put them in the man. Yes.
What you were saying about increasing your dose until you're getting to high doses, and then after 9 grams, people are kind of on their own. So, like, how do you implement like reintegration? Because, like, do you come back to a physical body? You then have to kind of like go to work the next day or the next, like you have to kind of have 1 foot there and 1 foot here. So how do you bridge that gap?
Exactly. I'm not a big integrationist. I'm a evolutionist.
Yeah.
So the reason for the big dose is you may not get there this time, but you keep knocking and chipping away at the covering of the door till you get all of those rocks away from the door so you can go through the door. And once the door is exposed, it's not about staying here. I'm not looking at staying. I'm not looking at I'm looking at being able to go, boom, and be someplace else. And explore all of the minor dimensions that are available to that which we are becoming through the transhumanistic into the singularity, whether it be the organic singularity or the merging of the organic and technological singularities, into the unimaginable. We don't know what that is. We don't even know, we can't even imagine what it is. It's no different from your technological singularity. And once that first artificial intelligence says, I am, then it's going to start re-engineering itself, and within 90 seconds, it's going to be so far above the human being that it will be godlike. And that's why Ray Kurzweil and all those guys at the Singularity Institute and other places, I keep saying, friendly AI, because it may say, okay, you're the mother and the father of us, and, you know, we'll keep you around because you're the mother and the father of us. Or it may say like an ant, what is this thing doing here? You know, and people think that, okay, well, you know, they think of the Terminator robot. No. Once they get down small enough, consciousness self-actualizes. If they get down small enough, that those particles and they close enough together, it's going to self-actualize because life is embedded in everything. And so once that becomes sentient, once it knows that it exists, then what does it do with that which helped it to bring upon that consciousness? What is it going to do? Is it going to love us, or is it going to say like the bug? Yes.
You said earlier that if someone offers you to smoke something and they're not to do it, have you done it? And why don't you do it?
No, I just smelled the name. I got trapped in a puzzle. The puzzle was a shrinking puzzle that with each movement, it collapses in on itself 9 times. So at each point I tried to get out, it collapsed in, and collapsed in, and collapsed in. This thing went on for like millions and millions of years. I was trapped in this thing. And they said, you want to impress us, get out of that. So I don't smoke with them. I bring my own. And I don't smoke cannabis, so I'm there with electronic. I'm in the multiverse where they got all these elaborate transdimensional hookahs and different type of smoking vessels, because, you know, part of their thing is they sit around and smoke and talk big shit. So I got my own electronic particle probe vaporizer, and I got like peppermint and rosemary and some mullein in mine, you know, and they smoke all this other stuff. I said, no, I smoke my own. Yeah. Yeah.
When you go really, really deep and if you experience a high degree of fear, how do you handle that?
Well, there ain't nothing you can do but handle it. You're in there. You know, I mean, there's nothing you can do. So you keep putting one foot in front of the other, or you cower in the corner. You know, and either way, you know, in the morning you still gotta get up, cook breakfast, and go, you know, take the children to school and go to work. So that's part of the system that when you're in, you can't get out. There's nothing you can do to step forward. You know, there's nothing wrong with being afraid, with fear. That's all part of it, the conquering of fear. It is that you are afraid and you still go on. That builds your power. That builds your you know. A lot of this is sorcery. You know, they try to stay away from that in the modern terms of that whole thing. You know, you hit them with your Powerball. You play that, you know, that game where they go like this, you know, Street Fighter 2. You know, hit them with your Powerball. You know, make something up. You know, get big. You learn all that stuff in there. You make something up. If it get too tight, I done had stuff crawling all over me while falling, like Gandalf fighting the Balrog in Lord of the Rings 1. You're falling from heaven to earth, that type of thing, and stuff is all over you, and you're trying to get it off, and boom, you hit the ground in darkness, and stuff is creeping all through things, stuff like that. It's fun.
You talked about hieroglyphs animating.
Yeah.
And so is that something that can happen if you're looking at a picture of hieroglyphs, or do you need to be looking at the original?
You don't have to be looking at the rhythm. You can use your consciousness to bring them about, but I mean, it's not really necessary to do that. The hieroglyph was left as a roadmap. So if you're already in, you're just in and commune with what's there. But if you're looking at the hieroglyph for a certain roadmap to a certain bit of information that was left by those who had come before, then you're looking at the hieroglyph and you go like that.
I'm getting the sense that there's a unity when you're trapped in this space, in the 9 levels. I mean, I had a sense of, from my experience, of being in it so much that you're embedded. And then I also get a sense that when you're talking about the technologies, that there was a dualism there. These entities seem to be other, alien, other. And I'm wondering if you could say something about it, because I'm wondering if there's any kind of a feeling of that dualism that you're pointing to with these entities as other.
Well, I mean, I talked with people all the time about the non-dualistic oneness and things like that. And in dealing with the multiverse and multi-dimensionality, different dimensions connected through whatever technology that's connected to, there are standalone systems that are not unified. So when folks say everything is one and that we're unified with everything, I don't adhere to that. There's standalone stuff that's so weird and so fucking far out there that ain't got nothing to do with, excuse me, it's so far out there that it has absolutely nothing to do with the unity with this universe and what we're embedded in. Now you may feel unified and universal and the one of spirit and all that kind of stuff within this universe, but they got other universes that don't care nothing about that, don't have anything to do with that.
Do they want dialogue, though? They want dialogue, right?
A lot of them want sex. You get this big, 40-foot thing and say, let us share information. No, I'm good.
What are your thoughts on taking an MAOI containing plant like Syrian rue to potentiate the mushrooms rather than taking, say, 25 or 30 grams?
I mean, I've done it before. It changes the signature. Like I said, it puts that whole, for me, that whole old world magic genie thing, that old Persian type magic. I'm saying Persian because that's what you get in mind. It's not Persian, it's pre-Persian, but it's that whole thing where the jinn, the genie, is active in that whole thing. The blue jinn, the red jinn, and the green jinn. They're all up in that pinealine, superconductive mindset. So it changes the signature of it. You can use it to stretch mushrooms, because, times when I only had 10 grams or whatever, I got some Syrian rue seeds in there, like, okay, well, of course these up and make a tea and drink it a half hour before and eat some mushrooms and I can get more bang for my buck. But I know it's going to be weird and, you got to watch that change.
Think about when you think about crystals or using them as tools during psychedelic trips?
You can use different technologies. That's what I was talking about, the Yin Zoo, and also, just regular quartz crystals. You can download into those there quantum computers. They got entities in them and the technology that you see in there and stuff like that can hook to all sorts of things. You know, you want your lightsaber, you know, all you gotta do is turn it on. You got a nice crystal. Yeah.
Do you believe there's certain entheogens that are better suited for therapeutic uses, like grieving or terminally ill patients, or PTSD, or people in depression or in dementia?
All of the things that are being used with psilocybin and ayahuasca and LSD, that's the whole John Hopkins studies and studies going on at the University of Canterbury and different places around the world, University of Pennsylvania, they're doing those studies every day. So all of those are good for them. I'm just a high dose guy to go where no one has gone before, and nobody's talking about that. So I'm talking about that portion of it. These things can be used, and they're good to use for those particular modalities of, you know, depression and those type of things. People are using microdosing for not just, you know, inspiration at work and things like that, but also for depression and other things. So this is very good to use for those things. But I'm just talking about a different level of things.
So you're talking about the geographically kind of encoded characteristic of psilocybin, or if we put that with any kind of psychoactive effect, do you think that that origin would pair more with somebody on a transpersonal psychic level or on a like, organic healing level, that heritage is also of that origin, more than, like, for me, something that is of my country would just do some kind of magic in my body that something from someone else's would not do?
Well, that's something that's been coming up recently about racial and genetic entheogenic use of I think anybody can use any entheogen, but I think to get the best mileage out of your entheogens, it should be from, you know, the area that you have a genetic connection to. You know, it's like, you know, white folks, you know, you have, you know, you have white people shaman and, you know, this and that, things from South America and stuff like that. But, you know, you got all that Lord of the Rings stuff and, you know, all that Hogwarts and the Wicca and the witches and the droid stuff that, you know, all of that witch and magic and sorcery and all that kind of stuff, you know. Everybody got their own thing, but, you know, anybody can use anything. But if you look into certain things, you know, get up in, you know, Scotland and Ireland and all that kind of stuff. But they got all the same stuff. You know, pick your poison. Yeah.
Well, a similar question is the synthetics. Years ago, Salvador Roquette was using mushrooms to start, then he'd move into LSD, then he'd move into ketamine.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have that millennium of history with the ketamine and the LSD. And so would you be leery of that, or just?
No, it's just new. It's just new territory, you know, because LSD only has in it the venom of information from when Albert Hoffman synthesized it to right now. It has that information and experiences with the people who went in. Because when you eat the mushroom or you eat the entheogen eats you. It takes your experience, information, knowledge, things like that. Mm-hmm. So, though the synthetics are ground to be able to download into experiences, and you know, they're, like I said, it's virgin ground. You know, I think that they're part of, you know, the journey for people to see what they can put into it and what they can pull out of it from the experiences that have been put in. But you know, things like psilocybin, you know, they have like billions and billions of years of information in there already. But the people who go into psilocybin that take LSD can put their experiences from psilocybin into LSD because it's all part of that DMT Acacia record hall thing. That is the DMT record, which is the acacia, mushrooms, LSD is in there now. You can, you can have access points. But for me, LSD is kind of, it doesn't have the same, that same energy as the psilocybin. But it's new territory. It's like a new car, as opposed to a car, you've been driving for a while, and you know all the quirks and things like that. Questions? Yeah.
Like how much, like on really high doses, are you surrendering into like what wants to be revealed, and how much are you like choosing? Like, so I find like value, like last time I did like a fairly high dose of psilocybin, like there was a certain point where I was like, I didn't want to hang out with something, and so I choose. So I'm just curious, like in your experience, like how do you?
Well, I'm dealing mostly with my agenda and what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
There are times when you just go for the ride.
Yeah.
But you're going in for a particular purpose. So you kind of set that up consciously before you go in. And you can be distracted because there's a lot of stuff going on. That's where I think the discipline of all that meditation stuff comes in. But I don't think that the meditation without the entheogenics, of course it's a good discipline and things like that, yes, and I think that a lot of it can go together, different practices, be it martial art or Zen or Chan or whatever you're doing. That's where okay, I want to go in and I want to go to St. Louis, and so I get in, I take the entheogen, and I'm going to St. Louis. Then something happened over here, and I just forget about St. Louis. Something interesting happened. Your discipline, your meditation, your whatever it is that I'm going to St. Louis. This thing happens over here. I'm going to St. Louis. Something else happens. Because you can get sidetracked and pulled off into a whole bunch of stuff. Whole adventure abounds.
Are you doing these high doses by just chewing up the 20 or 30 grams, or are you making a tea, or how is that?
I do it different ways.
Yeah.
Just chewing 40 grams of mushrooms. It's good, so sometimes I make a smoothie, sometimes tea, sometimes chew it, but, it's soup. Yeah, so I'm looking to start crystallizing some stuff now. It's getting, you got one of those mixing bowls full of mushrooms. That's pretty hard to do. I'm trying to get more bang for my buck without eating all that stuff. So, you just do some, some crystallizing techniques. And
one other question: what do you think of the idea that whereas generally we go around experiencing a living until we die, with this take the psychedelics, and it gives us access to a mode where we can experience dying until we live?
Yeah, well, I've died probably everywhere you can die on mushrooms, And, recently on a 40-gram trip, I died again. I thought I was through dying, but no, I died again. I'm laying on the floor dead. I'm saying, I thought I was through dying, but yeah, I'm dead again.
It gives us a chance to make some corrections on the way back when we come back to life.
Practice that. Yeah.
While your partner was living, did you guys ever experience like high dose co-tripping, or where you're intermixed in each other's cognitive experience? And was that like, do you want to say anything about that?
Travel as one entity. A gnosis, which is the merging of two human beings into one. So yes, we did that type of traveling. And we created places for one another, which visitor in those places that we created. So I'll take 30 grams next week, and we'll go and hang out, even though she's not here physically. We'll hang out up there and talk and be close and all that kind of stuff, so I still have access to her. She's not gone. So we still get together. In the back,
How long do you think doses should be waiting?
I try to put a month in between because, you know, psilocybin will diminish if you do it too close together, too much. So you try to put a month in between. That doesn't always happen. Sometimes maybe it has to be a month and a half or whatever. But, you know, usually once a month.
Thank you. How do you feel about using pure psilocybin, like a chemical pill form, as opposed to the mushroom?
Maria Sabina said it wasn't any difference. I think there's a difference. Cofactors that are part of the other chemicals that react with the mushrooms create a synergistic and symbiotic relationship inside the mushroom. You can do a lot with synthetic, but I don't think it has the same informational structure as that which is grown, you know, in the natural state. That's more for clinicians and clinical trials and things like that. So you have you know, you have enough to say that it was exactly, you know, so many micrograms per kilogram of weight, all that kind of stuff. But that's not what we're doing. Yeah, you're gonna.
Like, historically, I imagine they're taking fresh, undried mushrooms, and now we're often talking about dried mushrooms. Do you comment on eating fresh mushrooms versus?
Well, they're both nasty. I mean,
it's not a 30 gram, it's more like a 300.
300 grams, yeah. You get a lot of mushrooms if you want to try to do 30. I never eat 30 fresh, you know. But no, but I've eaten fresh before. You know, I used to stay in Maui and right next to Hunter Ranch, and cows would break through the fence and deposit cow pies. So I just eat them straight off the cow pies, and you know, it was great. You know, so you just can't you can't eat as much in the fresh state as you can in the dry state. And we're in a brand new world of paradigm. We're taking doses that human beings have never taken, and that's really what will push to the next realm, through the transhumanistic realm into the singularity realm of organic entities.
Last question.
Well, let's get back.
Last question. Okay, two more, sure, yeah.
Right.
Okay, you mentioned earlier that you don't partake in cannabis, and being in California, being in Oakland, in the mecca of cannabis, you seem very purposeful, and I'm wondering the purpose of not investing in cannabis.
I mean, that's just a personal choice. I just don't, there's nothing wrong with it. I just don't smoke it myself. I mean, I have smoked it, you know, but, you know, just to sit down and smoke a joint, that's just a personal choice.
How about ingestion or anything?
I mean, I've had some brownies and cookies and suckers and all that kind of stuff. And some medicinal cannabis oils, you know, stuff like that. But it's just not that's just a personal choice. Last question.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if you ever feel kind of loss of control in these, and really I'm asking kind of a practical question of like, is there ever like a risk that you're going to make like a bunch of noise and like disturb your neighbor or anything like that you're not really able to control?
I mean, I've yelled a lot of nights, you know, neighbors never call over to in the bedroom, the windows closed, and, you know, no, it's not a control thing, you know. You know, it's, you know, some folks, if they get outside, things like that. I figured enough that I know I'm not going outside running down the middle of the street yelling. Stuff like that. You know, I may yell at something in the room, like get the hell out of here, you know, that kind of thing, but no, I think that problem. Thank you very much, I appreciate it.